A U.S. government body dedicated to protecting religious freedom is highlighting some of the world's worst offenders. The U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom warns that religious minorities are increasingly under attack in the nations of Egypt, Iraq, Nigeria, Pakistan, Syria, Vietnam, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Recently, CBN's George Thomas spoke with Commission Vice Chair Katrina Lantos Sweat about those countries.
Tell us why protecting international religious freedom is so important to you guys.
Religious freedom, freedom of conscience and belief really are at the foundation of this country. Some would suggest that a great deal of the motivation for the establishment of the United States was created by people seeking religious freedom. And so it represents our values in the most profound sense. But the second very important reason is that religious freedom is really implicated in our own national security. As we look around the world, those countries which do a bad or a terrible job of protecting religious freedom also correlate rather closely with those countries from which many of our gravest national security threats come.
Now, you guys added Egypt to the list. Why was that important?
Minority communities are under very grave threat. There's been a lot of violence directed at the Coptic Christian community, a very ancient community in Egypt. There continue to be arrests and prosecutions for blasphemy and other such matters, and a failure on the part of the government to protect the rights of religious minorities in Egypt.
You've also recommended that the African nation of Nigeria be added to that list. What can the U.S. do to help curb the terrible violence that's happening there, most of it being perpetrated by the Islamic group Boko Haram?
It's an unusual situation in that the country is roughly half Muslim and half Christian, and there's a very great risk that the problems facing Nigeria, which are wide-ranging, will end up presenting along sectarian lines, which would be a real tragedy for that country. And of course, the government needs help battling Boko Haram.
Back to the Middle East, one other country that's in the spotlight, has been for the last 3 years, is Syria. It now is in the 3-year-old civil war. What can be done to stop the atrocities against Christians and minority Muslims?
There are abuses relative to freedom of religion and conscience and belief, frankly, that are being perpetrated on all sides. And so it's not a clear situation of, where the responsibility lies in terms of the religious freedom struggles that are going on there.
You guys are doing fantastic work, a very important role for people of faith around the world. Dr. Katrina Lantos Sweat, thank you so much for joining us. Come back again, please.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.